We are here. We are started. We have our TikTok community right here. So if I ever look down, then that's how you know I'm talking to the TikTok community as well. Now, the TikTok community is just here to be an observer, is just here to see how things are going on inside of the energetic CEO community, to see if it resonates with them, if they are a driven fempreneur who is ready to lead with energy, to see that abundance does follow with whatever decision that they make or action that they take in their business. They can see how it goes down and they can see if it resonates to drop on in and join in our little community here. So with that being said, I'm going to make sure that everyone who is supposed to be here for the hot seat coaching is here and in attendance. And I'm going to make sure too that we're looking up the questions. So yesterday we had our first ever energetic CEO meeting about what an energetic CEO is, about the values of becoming an energetic CEO. And through there, one of the action steps to take was to go to the tab in the left side of the navigational system of home and click help me requests. And in that help me request, I told you guys to leave me a high level question. Now, if you did not have the opportunity to do that and you want to do that right here, right now, absolutely go and do so. And if you are not here and you're watching this on a replay, watching it later, maybe sometime after work, or when you have some free time and a moment to yourself, then make sure that you are still going to that help me request tab and asking your high level questions about abundance, about energetics, about business, about the different shifts that you can make within yourself to get into a different identity and see yourself as a different person in your life and in your business for abundance and fulfillment. And then when we have our next hot seat coaching session, your question may be answered. And so I'm going to go ahead here real quick, go into the question that we have. And I can still see myself up here, which is perfect. Our first question that we had was from Courtney. Let's see if I can move this. Ah, perfect. I love when technology works. Our first question here is from Courtney. Now, a lot of you guys know Courtney. I've heard Courtney's name before. She is incredible. She's just been trailblazing lately, both in and outside of this community. She came into my world, oh my gosh. I feel like in my first year of business, if I'm not mistaken. And she was someone who started off just wanting to learn Reiki so that she can heal herself, maybe make some extra money, but it was really just for her to kind of get her hands on a healing modality. She felt really connected to Reiki healing energy and decided that this was the next best step for her to take. So she came into my Reiki training program and she honestly hasn't left. And she's one of my favorite clients. She's one of my dream clients because she has been able to implement on such a high level that she's changed her life from the inside out. And when we continue to work together, I'm always seeing her improve in some way, shape, or form. And some of her most recent wins, which, you know what, let me just go there. I'm going to go into the share your wins tab inside of our community. Let me see if I can find it. I might have to move TikTok for a second to get there because you guys are on my laptop. But Courtney decided that she wanted to take the next step and really market herself and her new Reiki energy healing business on her online platforms. And so she had a TikTok already. That's obviously how she found me. Then she decided to start an Instagram not too long ago after we had a one-on-one 30-minute phone call for her business. And then she joined, of course, the energetic CEO phone call from yesterday. And one of her wins was, I told her to go into the Share Your Wins tab and also proclaim what your next new identity and next new era is for you and your business. So this is what she said. I am the ideal healing pioneer that has cultivated not only a life full of purpose, abundance, and growth for myself, but for my family. The people who are aligned with me and come into my world find themselves, which I absolutely love. This is something that has been tweaked a little bit since the last time that we had a one-on-one phone call about her business. And I'm so glad that she's deciding to pioneer and lead her own business in this way, because when I read that, it really hit home. She says, I create to express, embody the intentions to spark movement for healing in others' lives. And this is where her testimonial comes into play, because she had around 100 followers when we had our little one-on-one business coaching session. How long ago was it? I would say maybe 2 months ago or something like that. And she was like, I really want to hit 1,000 followers. If I can hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, like I would make it, because once you hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, then you're able to go on live streams. And when you're able to go on live streams, it's much easier to establish an audience, build a community, nurture that community, and really engage with people in a wider way, a more expanded way. This was an opportunity for her to expand her influence so that she could become more of a magnet to other people who needed her. Because as we all know, especially a lot of us who are here on this phone call, on TikTok, in this community, we are female entrepreneurs. We're driven, we're committed, we're ambitious, we're high level, we are spiritual, we're intuitive, we lead with energy first. And when you are in that kind of field, but you're just starting out, so this goes for anyone who's just starting out, especially you guys who are just watching here on TikTok, observing this. When you're just starting out, it can be nerve-wracking. And you're just like, wow, I'm really picking up the sticks here and just trying to make a little kindling for my fire to watch it actually do something. And so when you're starting out and you're coming from zero, you're coming from a couple hundred followers or something, it could be very daunting to you to say, like, I'm going to go for this one, this one next level. I'm going to go for this one bracket. I'm going to go for this, number of followers. That way I can have a wider reach. And she was posting on her social media. She was posting on TikTok, but it was, a little bit here and there. And she felt that she was being genuine in her content, but something wasn't really landing. It wasn't that she was not showing up. It was that how she was showing up and who she was showing up for were still a little bit unclear. So when we had our phone conversation, we walked through the energetic shifts. We walked through practical and tangible strategies in order for her to grow her TikTok following. Literally within a couple weeks, she went from 100 followers to 1,000 followers, and she was able to go on live streams. Then in a couple months, she now has hit over 6,000 followers. 6,000. Are you kidding me? Like, she had been having this TikTok account for a very long time. She's had it for a couple years, maybe posting sporadically here and there, maybe not always feeling 100% confident in what she was able to show in her content for her ideal client, or even promote her services in a way that she felt was actually going to get money into her business and into her life. And then she winds up with one little phone call, a couple energy techniques, a couple mindset shifts techniques away. She was able to, within a couple months, get from 100 followers to 6,000 followers. So I just want to congratulate Courtney right here, right now, in front of everyone on TikTok, and right here, right now, in front of our energetic CEO free community, because it's important that you see that when you understand how to connect to your inner being, when you do know how to listen to your intuition and take inspired action, and when you do know how to shift your mindset from that of resistance to that of abundance and that of fulfillment and that of expansion, you can collapse timelines in your business. You can collapse timelines in your life. And this is something that she's always wanted to do, to create some extra income for herself, because she is a stay-at-home mom. And now she's a work from home mom. And that's amazing to be able to see, so that whenever she feels like she wants to invest in herself or buy something, she doesn't always have to ask other people. She can just rely on her business and rely on herself. And at least for me, I know what it's like to have to rely on other people for your finances, for your stability, and knowing that it makes you feel a type of way. It doesn't always make you feel extremely confident. It doesn't always make you feel like, you can truly do what it is that you want, because you're feeling limited or stagnant in some sort of way. It's almost like you're having to ask permission to live the life that you want to live. But when you are an energetic CEO, you don't have to ask permission to live the way that you want to live. You don't have to ask someone for money. You are able to create that for yourself, because you have tapped into your own unlimited source of abundance. So I want to share that win from Courtney before we get into our question today, because she deserves to be celebrated. She's been doing the work. She is amazing in what she does. And if you do not already follow her on social media here on TikTok, she does go on TikTok live streams as well. You can go follow her. I believe all of her socials are 4 waters, 1 house. So the number 4 waters, 1 house, and 1, I believe, is spelled out O-N-E. For those of you guys who want to go check her out and follow her over on TikTok, or even also on Instagram, show her some love. Tell her that you came from my page so she knows who sent you, and join her on her live streams when she goes live. I believe that she has been consistently going on live streams on TikTok around 9 p.m. CST almost every single night, if I'm not mistaken. But if you want to DM her and ask her what her live schedule it is, she will definitely let you know what it is. So with that being said, she's also created a website, started working with one-on-one clients, and she produced a product that is soon to be launched. I honestly don't know how I can get better than that in just a couple of months. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch gears into the actual hot seat coaching for today. And I'm going to make sure that Courtney's on this live stream. Let me see if you're here, Court. Yep, you're here. Oh, she's in the waiting room. I thought that I had taken off the waiting room option. Hi, Courtney. Sorry that you were waiting in the waiting room for so long. I was literally just like giving you so much love. So when you see the replay of this energetic CEO hot seat coaching session, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like I can't believe she just said all that stuff about me, because I'm also running a live stream on TikTok so they can see how we get down in this energetic CEO community. And I gave them your social media, I gave them your wins. I was telling them about our work and our journey together over the past couple years and how you started with just Reiki training all the way up to now when you shared your wins yesterday, saying that you went from 100 followers to over 6,000 followers on TikTok in just a couple months. You're starting to work with one-on-one clients, and I'm just giving you your flowers essentially. So I'm glad that you're here. You don't have to turn your camera on right now or unmute your mic right now. I'm just kind of riffing, and I'm going to go on to the help me request and our personal chat to get your question rolling and to get you the support that you need for that. So let me go back there. See where your question is real quick. For those of you guys who are just now joining in on TikTok, hello, hello, hello. We are live right now inside of our energetic CEO community. It's a free community that you can join in by going to the link in my bio. And we're having some hot seat coaching for tapping into the energy of abundance and alignment with your inner being and alignment with fulfillment. So every single action that you take or decision that you make in your business is going to align you to prosperity. So let me go back here. Finally found it. Okay, so this is what Courtney has said. Her question revolves around this kind of topic. I'm feeling like others, family and their resistance, that energy is affecting my business. And as far as the way they view me as being successful. So there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of projections, there's maybe even certain expectations of Courtney and what her identity should be or what her role should be as a family member. And it doesn't necessarily align with what her current values are. And so that's impacting her a lot, because obviously when you have family that you see all the time and you are very excited about running your own business and being a leader, being an energetic CEO, being a Reiki practitioner, healing others, and they've never seen you in that kind of spotlight before, you're creating a spotlight for yourself. It can be very daunting to have other people project onto you maybe an insecurity or some sort of negativity or jealousy or ill will or evil eye. Maybe they never thought that you would be able to shine your light so bright. And I see this so often, especially with people who are in the spiritual community. Oftentimes, when you decide that you are so spiritually led to create your own sources of income, it's because you've gone through dark nights of the soul. It's because you've gone through major traumas and challenges in your life. And people around you in your circle sometimes only ever see you as that. And so when you're changing, it can be very triggering for them. It can tell them that maybe they're not good enough, you know. And it's not that you're actively doing this, it's just that you're shining so bright that it's illuminating some of the shadows within themselves. So maybe they're thinking they're not good enough. Maybe they're thinking like, well, why do you think that you can do that and I haven't been able to do that for myself? Maybe they're thinking that they're better than you, or that you think that you're better than them. Like, it can be so many different things that are being triggered. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint exactly what it is for every single one of your family members right now, but the overall vibe and the energy of what you're receiving from them obviously is not anything that feels very supportive. And so to continue on to what Courtney was saying, they will not actually say it's like this, but I know that their energy has always felt this way, you know, towards me or about my job, about my career. And this is coming from Courtney. She says, I had mentioned me launching a product because I'd already done this and I thought it was okay to mention it. And it was definitely not okay with them. I don't feel unnecessarily, that I need to completely cut them out of my life, but I do feel that they're giving off some energy. It's not supportive, and I feel like it's an off day for me. So she was talking about it's especially easy for her to have that kind of sink in and have that feed her unhealed ego if she's not incredibly careful. So, Courtney, thank you so much for that question. It's definitely very insightful, very high level. I made sure to tell everyone in the energetic CEO community that if you're going to submit a question to the Help Me request, it's got to be a high level question. You have to ask a question that's not a victimhood mentality question. You have to ask a question that's not, oh, I'm me in my suffering mode, but it's a question of, look, I have these aspirations. I'm looking to shift my identity. This is exactly what I want in my business. However, this is what I'm faced with. So how am I expected to overcome this kind of challenge? And so I really do appreciate that. I'm going to see if there's anything else in the chat that Courtney was saying. Um, Courtney was like, I was actually just resting and healing and my higher self. He said from you and my higher self, and I feel so good. And I woke up to that. Oh, yay. Okay. So you came onto the energetic CEO hot seat coaching and you were like, I was just resting, I was healing, I was in it, I was trying to like feel good for myself. And I came on and you're like giving me flowers. And that's because you deserve them, Courtney. And you've been through so much, even outside of the time that we started working together. And you've been through so much in the time that we've been working together. And I see it all. And from someone who, I mean, we've never even met in person before. We've only ever had phone call conversations. We've only ever communicated online, but it just goes to show that your energy is so special and it's being transmuted and it's being felt by others, not only me as your mentor, but other people in your world and other people who need your services too. So you're just doing an incredible job. You deserve your flowers. Kudos to you. But let's get into your question, give you the hot seat coaching that you're actually needing at this time. So taking a deep breath to collect ourselves, because this one's a doozy. When you feel that you are striving for something in your personal life and in your business, but you're currently in some sort of environment or around people who are not supportive of that, there's a couple things that we have to keep in mind. One of them is immediately finding a community that will support you so that you don't have to feel like you're doing it alone. Now, you're already a part of that kind of community. You are already inside the energetic CEO community. So you've already done that. And you may also be a part of other communities of people online who are doing the same thing or something similar as you. So that's really great off of the bat. And so other people who are watching this replay or watching here on TikTok, I need you to understand that if you don't have the external environment that supports you and where it is that you're going and what your professional and personal goals are, the very first step is for you to go and find that community. And there's tons of free communities. There's tons of paid communities. It is okay to invest in yourself if you're not already in a community like that. But that's going to be one of the first steps. The second step is something that you are already doing as well. But again, I want to make sure that people who are watching this, who are not Courtney, understand what to do when they're in the situation, is understanding how to energy cleanse yourself. When you understand how to cleanse your energy using the 5 elements of earth, fire, air, water, and spirit, you have all of the tools that are necessary in order for you to protect your energy. So any ill will, evil eye, jealousy, competitive nature, people who are wishing for your downfall, praying for your downfall, people who are doubting you, that cannot affect you. That cannot impact you. It's literally impossible. So understanding how to protect your energy, cleanse your energy every single day is super, super helpful. Where Courtney is right now, she already has those two on lock. So Courtney's main mission is to frequently condition herself into the energy of confidence and into the energy of, this is my world. This is my game to play. I get to live it how I want. I get to play it how I want. And I say condition because that takes repetition. It takes frequency. It takes you being committed to choosing that every single day. And a lot of manifestation really is just simply choosing it and then having the actions that back it up and having the emotions that back it up. Choosing it is the mentality, right? The action taking comes from inspired action, which is you connecting to your intuition and from what your intuition is telling you, from what your inner being is telling you, going and doing that. That gives you the how of moving forward. So instead of you saying, well, how do I move forward when I'm feeling this? Your intuition will always tell you. But these are also practical steps that you can put into play. And then the emotion behind it is you saying, regardless of what anyone is thinking about me or what I may be, thinking that they're thinking about me, Regardless, it's none of my business. So I'm going to keep on doing what makes me happy. I'm going to make sure that my emotions are in check. And if you do tend to feel that resistance, if you do start to feel that your unhealed ego is starting to run the show or drive the car in your life or in your business, having the awareness of that is a really good first step to have during those times when you're overcoming that resistance. There is a step-by-step formula that I have when it comes to overcoming your resistance. And this is something that I used to say a lot when this community was named Aura House. And it's now something that I've decided to put into the Beyond Balance program. So Courtney, you're already inside of the Beyond Balance program. And the next few days, I'm going to just give everyone inside of that program the steps to overcoming resistance because it's super important. I feel like everyone who's come into the Beyond Balance program is knowledgeable enough with the content that's in there and could use a little bit more, refinement, because it's one thing to tap into your intuition. It's one thing to try to think positively, but it's a completely different thing when you're experiencing the opposite of what you want to experience in this life and you're still having to move forward and have the faith. You're being tested by the universe, by your existence. You're being tested by your unhealed ego to grow, to expand, to transform. And what I want you to take away from this the most, Courtney, is that your unhealed ego is or can be one of your best friends in your healing journey when you understand what the purpose of the unhealed ego is. The unhealed ego is here to give you that resistance. It's here to give you the fear, the doubt, the lack, the worry. It's here to give you the anxiety. It's here to give you the overwhelm. It's here to give you the stress. It's here to give you the overwhelm, the burnout. It's all of it. It's here to give you all of these things that are in contrast to your desires and your preferences and your manifestations so that you can fortify your energy, alchemize those emotions that may be unhealed, and then regulate and recalibrate your energy back to its standard. Your standard of energy is bliss, is peace, is neutrality, is love, is enlightenment, is abundance, is fulfillment. But what happens when we go through trauma, what happens when we go through life, is that we have all these different contrasting experiences that confuse us, that create all of these spectrums of emotion within us. And sometimes we hold on to that narrative, and sometimes we hold on to that story. Sometimes we hold on to that belief system. Sometimes we hold on to that identity. And it's the holding on process that hurts us the most. It's the holding on process that can become detrimental if we do not know how to let go. So while you're here in those moments of resistance and we're holding on to it and we're shifting into that identity that we're trying to heal from, we have to remember that ego is being my best friend. Thank God the universe and the ego is sending me this contrast in this moment. Thank God I'm experiencing these emotions that don't make me feel good in this moment, because what the universe is really showing me is that it loves me so unconditionally that it wants me to remember myself and prevail. It wants me to remember myself and overcome the situation. It wants me to remember myself and realize that this identity is an illusion. This limiting belief is an illusion. This one unhealed emotion is coming from some sort of trauma that is now ready to be healed. It's now ready to be let go of. It's now ready to be perceived in a different way that can help me expand rather than keep me holding on and keep me feeling the way that I've been feeling for a long time, not allowing me to reach a certain level of success or abundance or fulfillment in my life. So again, understanding that the unhealed ego can be your best friend, understanding that when those emotions do surface up and you're feeling that resistance, it is the perfect time and the perfect moment for you to address those feelings and prevail and use that resistance as a stepping stone to where it is that you want to go. And again, the more nuanced details and exact steps of how to do that is going to be laid out in the Beyond Balance program for you, Courtney, very, very soon. And the reason why I'm saving it for that program is because those steps are very sacred to me, very sacred to the business. And I want to make sure that it stays very sacred And for anyone who's actually ready and willing and committed to make that change within themselves so that they understand whenever their unhealed ego is driving the car, that they can shift at any given moment and understand what they need to do in any given moment. Only the people who are ready and willing to do that should have that information. But if you're not ready and willing to have that information, you're not going to do anything with it. And so that's why I want to keep it very sacred because I feel like those who are actually truly ready to move will invest in themselves and will go throughout that process and not waste their time with that program and not waste their time with the education that they're being given. And I think that's very important to me that they go through that kind of step. You already have that available. So all you have to do is just wait for a couple days as I shift all that content in there for you. With that being said, the other element of having people in your life who maybe do not support you in what your goals are, I think we've already hit this topic once before when we were talking in another coaching that we had, but not sharing everything with everyone, which I think you already know, but I know that you probably felt very comfortable sharing certain things with them because maybe you felt like you were more stable emotionally or mentally. Maybe you felt like since you're in a new era of your life that they could see you in a different way and somehow be more supportive of you, but then you realized, oh, that's still not the truth. They're kind of still the same as they were. I'm the one that grew, maybe not so much them. And so that was just a little bit of a test for you, maybe a little bit of a lesson in that moment. And that's perfectly fine to realize that because you were excited and you're having fun and you're growing and you want to be able to share that with the people who have known you for a very long time. I can understand that desire to want that kind of connection and support from those people. But you realized in this moment that when you did, then it immediately kind of put you down and made you maybe not feel so good. And so I've also had moments in my life and in my career where I'm like, ooh, I have an idea for this really amazing masterclass. And like, I can't wait to like put it out into the internet, put it out into the universe. My clients are going to love it, la, 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 la. And it makes more sense in my head. It makes more sense in my world. And when I then go talk to the people in my life who don't run their own business, who don't understand really what a masterclass is, who never went into a masterclass themselves, who work for someone else and they don't work for themselves, so they don't know like, you know, the dynamics that can go behind you running your own business, then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And I'm like, wait, no, like, I'm dying. I'm so excited. Like, you don't know. Let me explain it different because, like, you're not getting it. Like, why aren't you as excited as I am? And I'm like, because you're not playing the same game as I'm playing. Why would they be excited? They're playing their own game. If I was telling them something that resonated more with their own game and their level of understanding of business or abundance or harnessing a community, nurturing a community, building engagement, then they would be excited too. If there was someone who ran their own business, they would be excited too. But for those who are not in your world, and specifically too, if they're people who are not spiritual and you're very spiritual, they're not going to get it. It's not going to click with them. And so that's why some things are better left unsaid and some things are better left private. And that's why moving behind the scenes and doing what you're doing in the shadows can sometimes be better because it protects you. It protects the energy of you. It protects the energy of your business. It protects the energy, excuse me, of your finances. And that is a beautiful thing to have. So don't convince yourself to be put down for too long when you maybe are excited about something and someone else doesn't resonate with that. Be happy that you now know, this is a level of protection that I can give myself. And this will add more abundance into my life. This will add more fulfillment into my life because in some way, shape, or form, and I don't know how this is going to resonate with you specifically, Courtney, but I'm going to put it out there just in case someone else is picking up what I'm putting down. And I know it's been the case for me as well. So I want to share this with others who may resonate with your story. But sometimes I personally have felt that sharing those things about my achievements, maybe before they're happening or during them happening, instead of after or even at all, like I felt like sharing that with them would give my ego some sort of validation. And it was only in the moments that I realized they're not gelling with what I just said, or they're not really showing that much excitement or happiness. They're not proud of me for what I just said that I did or what it is that I said I was going to do. I realized in those moments I was looking for external validation. I was looking for an outside reason to be happy for myself. And I don't want that to be the case with you. And I don't want that to be the case for anyone who is deciding to be or claiming to be an energetic CEO, because the validation that you get, especially as an entrepreneur, is just inner. It's just for you. Can you get accolades? Can you get rewarded? Can you get acknowledged? Can you receive praise? Absolutely. Let that be someone else's decision to initiate that instead of expecting them to always give you that when you come to them with something. And I know, again, maybe it's not that you are feeling like, oh, yeah, I really want that external validation. And I really want someone to be proud of me, to show me that I'm worthy, to show me that I'm good enough. But like this happens in your community as well. Like this can happen with your followers. This can happen with your audience. I'm so excited for this masterclass, la la la. I'm so excited for this one offer, this one service. When you go into one-on-one with me, your life is going to change. And you hear crickets and you're like, oh crap. Maybe I shouldn't go through this masterclass. Maybe I shouldn't go through this one-on-one service or product or offer. Maybe I shouldn't go with this piece of content anymore because it really didn't land with my audience. But in those moments, it was like, well, were you happy making that? Did you feel like it was authentic to you? Do you see the long-term goal of where this is going to get you? Do you feel truly that that was an abundant idea? Did you truly in your soul feel like you took inspired action and then that's what you received? You know, that's what you put out into the world? Because if the answer is yes, then that's your inner validation speaking for you. And sometimes people only give you your flowers when they realize how it's benefited them at the end of the day, not how it benefited you. And so taking a look at it from maybe more of a bird's eye perspective and taking a look at it in like the long term can help you at this time. And understanding who you can share certain things with will save you a lot of that. Because when you are looking for community and when you are looking for support, then you can come into a place like this free community energetic CEO. You come to me through texts and you say, hey, this one person, like I got this testimonial, I got this one review for my business. I'm feeling super excited, ecstatic about it. And I will go ahead and celebrate you because you know that you can count on me for that. You know that you can count on the people in this community for that. You know who it is in your life that will support you no matter what. And knowing that is going to save you a lot of future heartache for sure. So Courtney, I know I've like riffed a lot. I want to hear from you. If you want to go into the chat and like let me know, or even you can unmute your mic and show your camera if you feel like that, if there was something that really hit for you, and if there wasn't anything that, or if there was something left out that I did not touch on yet, let me know what that is as well, and I can continue to riff on it. But from what I remember you sending as a question, I feel like I almost hit at least 90% of that. But definitely let me know if there's anything else tangibly that I can give you to help you on this journey while you're here for hot seat coaching. And you can go ahead now.
Yes. Okay. So, first of all, I'm sorry, I have a sore throat. But this definitely was like looking back, I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe I was kind of looking for a little bit of validation. This was a parent figure. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you okay. TikTok can't hear you, but they're going to have to, if they want to hear you, they're going to have to go to Energetic CEO and watch the replay. But go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I probably was like not realizing it in the moment, but now that I'm looking back, I'm like, well, it would be nice to have my parents proud of like some of the things that I'm doing, but they just don't get it.
Mhm.
But that probably was a good bit of my ego uh, looking for that validation. Um, but I really like which one? I'm sorry.
It's all good.
The peanut butter crackers? The orange? Which maybe use your words. This? Oh, the Laffy Taffy? Ooh, let's do that maybe after SpaghettiOs, okay? Um, that's a great question. Yes. Um, but I wrote everything down and I feel like a couple of times now since I have asked this and since this has happened, my nervous system keeps coming up. So,
Mhm.
how does my nervous system come in with my ego? I specifically was actually watching that nervous system video that you did and
Mhm.
recently posted. I fell asleep watching that.
Oh,
That's what
very
I was
good.
watching. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm wondering like what this could have to do with my nervous system.
Hmm. Absolutely. So that's a very good question. So for those of you who are on TikTok who are just observing, Courtney essentially asked, when it comes to her ego and her nervous system, how is she able to like balance that a little bit more? How is she able to regulate her nervous system in a way that if she does get triggered with her ego, or if she is climbing the ladder in her business, maybe, and then having that level of success, how can she like regulate her nervous system to then be able to be on a level where that's normal, right? So either recalibrating and regulating your nervous system when you are feeling that ego, and even when you have your manifestation, how can you regulate your nervous system when you have that manifestation so that you can maintain it later on? And so there are definitely a couple different things you can do. Of course, grounding helps, but we're already doing that. So sometimes when it comes to your nervous system, we do have to almost separate it from us for a moment. And this is a technique that I like to do with every single aspect of the self. I always do this for the inner being, higher self. I do this for the inner child. I do this for the shadow. I do this for the root work. I do it for everything. So you can also have a moment where maybe you're grounding outside or you're doing some sort of energy cleanse, you're in some sort of meditative state, you're relaxed as much as you possibly can be, and talk to your nervous system and say, nervous system, what is it that you need from me at this moment? And see if there's any juicy codes and downloads and details that your nervous system is going to give you in a way that actually makes sense to you rather than just your body flaring up and feeling all these things and you're having all these side effects and symptoms, because sometimes it's hard to decipher in the moment what your body needs when it's already reacting. So if you can, in the moments where you can be relaxed, where your nervous system is a little bit not on the fritz, have those conversations and see what comes through and listen to what your body truly has to say. That is going to be like a very good first like little thing to consider. The second thing to consider is really understanding the exact message that your ego is trying to tell you and why your nervous system was triggered by that. And so this is a little bit of a mental approach. And then I'm going to end it with a more physical approach. But the more mental approach is understanding, like, oh, this portion of my ego, let's say it is me feeling very doubtful. Let's just choose that one. I'm very doubtful and maybe having a lack of confidence in what I'm able to provide or how I'm able to show up for my business, how I'm able to show up for myself. Maybe I'm doubting my services. I have a lack of confidence in creating content that will allow me to market to my ideal client. And now it's making me my nervous system and my body feel very anxious before posting or very anxious before getting on the call with someone or very anxious when I'm just thinking of new ideas for my business because ultimately I'm doubtful. So we have to understand what that correlation is. Why is that doubt creeping up? And what does your body do when that doubt creeps up? I always like to address my nervous system in the way of preventing as much as I possibly can. Because when you're preventing something from happening, it's much easier to like not even have to deal with it in the first place. Instead of you saying, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really nervous and anxious right now. Like, what can I do in this moment? Then we're going to get into the physical aspect. But if you can prevent it and already be consistent with conditioning your nervous system to be more regulated, that is going to be the thing that helps you before it even happens. And I say this a lot too, because when I was ending, I wasn't even starting my energy healing business at this time, but when I was ending one business, I was getting a lot of that unhealed ego triggered within myself. And my nervous system was making me feel like very panicky, very anxious. Whenever I thought of like new business ideas or how I was going to get money, then I was getting triggered with my fight or flight. And sometimes it would just be straight up freeze. So in those moments where I was dealing with it, I couldn't deal with it mentally. So that's why I'm starting off with this first. I couldn't deal with it mentally in that moment. I had to deal with it in a very physical way. And so I chose to do energy cleansing specifically with water, where I would create detox baths and I would put a lot of salt and crystals around my bath, pray upon my water. We are attuned to Reiki energy, so you could put Reiki in that water when you're feeling like you're in those moments and you just need some time for yourself, especially if you're feeling overstimulated within your business and outside of your business. Be like, peace, mommy me time. And I used to go to my bath and be there for 2 straight hours. And I would literally do breathing techniques that would allow me to use the element of water to purge all of the things that were making me overstimulated and making my nervous system go on the fritz. And then I would literally see that bath water turn into like a weird gray, muddy color. And it wasn't that I was like scrubbing or anything, and it wasn't that I was dirty. It was me actually seeing all of that impurity that was in me, that was being cultivated by the stress and the anxiety and me being riled up and me shaking and me not feeling good and me feeling like I have the sweats. That was all coming out through the water. So I used the element of water at that time. And I would again go into that water for as long as I possibly could until I felt regulated. And that is something that helped me out in a very physical way. I also then later on went into some more movement somatic practices. So I know for you, Courtney, you like to do a lot of hula hooping. And that's how you are able to kind of de-stress and decompress that stress and anxiety from your body. But you also are going to the gym. I would say that something that has helped me in the past as well a lot is like specifically dance, because my body just resonates very well with that, but also doing like stomping, throwing my arms and my limbs around, going crazy with my body, and just allowing that like shock factor of what my nervous system and what my body was going through to exit and to release through movement. Because sometimes you sitting and trying to meditate when your nervous system is going haywire is not a perfect match for what your body needs at that time. And sometimes your nervous system will create so much excess energy to try to tell you, please release me, please release me, please release me. And that's when you're like, okay, I got to do something. I got to get up. I got to get going. And then you can, again, throw that energy essentially out of your body. People can do tapping for that. I used to do tapping as well, where I would break apart that energy within my being by literally just like tapping my body. And I'm not hurting myself when I'm doing this, but I'm just giving my body a physical sensation of I'm here. I got you. We're doing this together. We're expressing this, we're letting it go, and being very conscious and intentional of when you're doing that. That's why in the Beyond Balance program, I start off with healing the physical body and doing so in the way of understanding what your body likes to do to fully decompress stress and anxiety that may be outside your regular exercise routine. Because your intentions when you're doing hula hooping for you, Courtney, I would say are yes, being active and maybe getting a sweat on, but that's how you can create yourself. That's how you can create. That's how you can get into a flow and get into the zone. And then you working out is probably more for getting fit and making sure that you have stamina, making sure that your energy levels are more balanced. But when it comes specifically to those moments of me feeling like my nervous system is unregulated due to the amount of money that I'm making, or me feeling like I'm not making a amount of money, or the pressures that people are putting on me externally, that has to be a different physical thing that you do to decompress that stress and anxiety with a very specific intention and focus. And so you can play around with what that is for you, but I've noticed a lot of the times somatic movement is the way to go. Something that I did create as well, which I loved it when I created it. And for whatever reason, I got too much in my head about it and then I stopped promoting it. But it is the rest and restore movement technique, which I'm not sure if you've ever tried back in the day. And maybe I'll put that in the Beyond Balance program as well. But the rest and restore movement technique shows you how to physically move that energy out of your body. And so maybe I'm kind of convincing myself to put that back into the program so that you can try it out and see if it works for you. But to summarize everything that I just said, because I know it was long-winded, but we have an audience here who's like listening in and getting all the juicy codes. And there's going to be other people who come into this energetic CEO community who are listening to this and resonate with this. I'm going to recap it real quick. We have that first part, understanding the connection between the unhealed ego and the nervous system and what exactly is triggering that nervous system and how that nervous system is responding and reacting, what your body is actually doing in response to that specific form of resistance. Then the second part, so the first part's identifying, right? The second part would be more so understanding on a mental level, like, okay, is it a freeze? Is it a flight? Is it a this? Is it a that? Like, what is my body trying to tell me? How can I communicate with my nervous system before this is actually triggered within me? So I have more of a know-how. I have more of a mental idea and stability and security of what's actually happening if I ever do get back into that state of being unregulated with my nervous system. If you mentally know what's going on, the panic is a lot less when it is triggered. And then from there, when it is triggered, or even if you're still in the preventative space where you're like, I'm going to make sure I do the somatic movement so I don't get triggered, right? So I can balance it before it gets to a point where it's already heightened and I'm feeling panicky or I'm feeling, really just like, ugh, on the fritz, I'm overstimulated. If you're not preventing it, you could do it in that moment. And again, energy cleansing is going to be your best friend. I used to do it in the form of water. Earth really works as well, but making sure you're doing something very, very physical, especially too, if a lot of the emotions that arise during you being in that state of an unregulated nervous system are like anger, frustration, rage, or grief, or you not feeling like, stable or secure or protected or safe. You getting very physical with it can really, really help you because your nervous system communicates with your body to give you like a warning, to give you an alert. It is a message. So if you can understand that message and then do something with that message to help you out, that is the best case scenario when it comes to regulating your nervous system. So you said, okay, the free movement video. Yes. So it's a free rest and restore movement technique. It was like one of my very first freebies, like 2 years ago or something like that. And I loved it very much when I created it, but it was like when I just moved into this like house and I felt like, I don't know, some way about it after a certain amount of time. And I felt like, I don't know if people are really doing this. And I got insecure within my own like way. And then I put it into other programs. And so now that Beyond Balance is doing so well and there's so many members in that program, I just feel like I have to give you like more things in there to just beef up that program as much as I can and have it be like a knockout freaking program for those of you guys who want to break through to your next level of financial security or success, but do so in the way of regulating your nervous system and energy healing techniques. So I'm gonna like beef it up and probably put that in there today. I feel like I want to re-record it, but I'll give you guys the recording that I made like 2 years ago inside of that program. And that will definitely help you out. But somatic movements, getting into your physical body is definitely helpful because your nervous system gets very triggered when you're not listening to what it's trying to tell you. When even little things like if you are overwhelming yourself with creating content or responding to emails or going to work and doing like X, Y, and Z, and you're feeling super, super like lightheaded and you're just grinding and you're grinding and you're grinding and you're getting yourself burnt out and you're feeling like a headache start to come on, but you're like, I just got to finish this one last email. You ignoring your body in that moment is what's going to trigger your nervous system in a negative way. Or when you're hungry and you're like, okay, like let me just keep working. Let me just keep, paying attention to this one thing. Oh, this person really needs me. Oh, I got to do this favor. I got to run this errand. And you're going on like the second, third, fourth hour without eating. And your body is still telling you like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. And the hunger pains keep getting worse. And you're like, okay, after the fifth hour, you're finally getting a bite in. You are training your body. You're telling your body during those moments, I'm ignoring you. I'm not listening to you. And it's going to be like, all right, bet you're not listening to me. I'm going to become louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. That's why in the Beyond Balance program, I focus so heavily on decompressing the stress and anxiety and all of the negativity of energy that could be cultivated in your body every single day. And I show you how to decompress that from your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body because it's not just a physical game. It is an emotional game as well. Your nervous system can mess with your emotions. And if your emotional body is stable, if it's healed, your nervous system will regulate. If your physical body is stable, if it's healed, if you're moving, if you're not living in a sedentary life, if you're listening to what your body's needs are, if you're purging the trauma from your energy centers, then your nervous system begins to regulate. If you're understanding what your mind is doing and you're not allowing yourself to chronically overthink or worry about certain things in your life, if you're monitoring those moments where you are adhering to certain belief systems that your inner being know not to be true, if you are understanding how to monitor that and say, you know what, let me get my mind right, or let me get out of my mind, maybe, let me stop overstimulating my mind, let me stop the distractions, let me stop the escapism, that is going to start healing your nervous system. And when you can condition yourself to connect every single day to the spirit of who you are, not just the physical form of who you are, that also regulates your nervous system too. So definitely, Courtney, I know that you decided to go back into the program and kind of get a fresh start and go through it like all over again. Absolutely take your notes. Absolutely take it day by day. This program is designed for you to add on every single thing we're doing inside of it every single week. So practice the first week's modules every single day that week. And the second week, you're still practicing what you have been in the first week, but now you're just adding on some things for the second week. And I say to continue doing that all the way up to the fourth week. And from there, it's going to already become a ritual, a routine, a habit, a regimen, a lifestyle. And that's what we want, because the more consistent you can be with that, then everything else will follow. And so when you lead with energy first, the rest follows. Abundance follows, fulfillment follows. And that's the point of the Beyond Balance program at its core. So, you said I got a win from it literally last night. What was your win? Oh, yeah. Your testimony. Yeah. You got an amazing review. So let me see. You said I got a win from it literally last night. So you mean just the Beyond Balance program in general that you got a win from it? Because you texted me this morning, for those of you guys who are watching here on TikTok and for those who are going to be watching afterwards. But the win was essentially that there was a person who came into your world who's had chronic insomnia for their whole entire life, and watching your Reiki connected to them in such a strong and powerful way that they didn't even know what Reiki was before meeting you, but it resonated with them and healed them and relaxed them so profoundly that they finally had their first full night's sleep in God knows how many years. That's absolutely amazing. So that's incredible for you. Always celebrating your wins when they happen, because that is so good. Now, I know that I have spieled and riffed this whole entire time. If there's anything else that you want to say, Courtney, now's your
It
time.
was actually a separate win that I'm going to post about in the share your wins,
Sweet.
because I realized, and it was in the it was like how the emotions go in with the physical. It was that video.
How the emotions go with the physical body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was literally doing laundry, and it was like all of a sudden it just clicked.
Hmm.
And one of the things that has been holding me back, and it honestly has shifted. It went from not having childcare
Hmm.
to, okay, like, well, one of my kids are in school now. The other one, I mean, I still have him, but I can like take him to the gym with me, and I can do some things while I'm there. But one of the things that I've noticed, and my husband brought it up to me, he was like, well, you're not asking me to help you. Like, how can I help you? Because I I told him, like, well, I could do better if I could go live during the day,
Hmm.
instead of like waiting until my energy is not as good at night, and then I'm going
Hmm.
live at night, and that's great and all, but like, and he's like, well, just ask me, just tell me when you're ready. And I'm like, but, and then it like kind of clicked after a couple of hours after that conversation,
Yeah.
like, why haven't I asked?
I
why
know.
why did I just not like say, hey, I need this time, I want to go
Yeah.
live,
Yeah.
there's somebody I need to work with right now, I don't know.
It
And
was
then
like
I'm
an invisible block. And then you're like, wait a
yeah,
second, this is invisible. And now there's no more blockage. Like, that's incredible.
yeah, so that's cool.
I love that for you. And now it's going to be, you're going to have a lot more access to a stronger and more effective kind of energy when you do decide to go on your live streams, when you have shifted essentially the time that you want to be there for people and you want to promote your business, which is incredible.
Yeah, so
Beautiful.
that was my other win too.
That was a win. Yeah. No, I would say that's definitely a win for sure.
I
That's
had
so
like
good.
3 or 4 wins in like 24 hours, like,
I
whew.
know. 3 or 4 wins in 24 hours. Love it. That's what happens when you're an energetic CEO. That's what happens when you lead with your energy first. I love that. So very good. This session today was longer than expected, which is good. I think it was definitely needed for those inside and outside of the community. And again, for those of you guys who are on the TikTok community, hello, my hair is going crazy because I'm gonna go on a side rant, but whenever you straighten curly hair on the very first day, it doesn't lay right. But regardless of that, for those of you guys who are here on the TikTok platform, We are inside of Energetic CEO, which is a free community. If you go to the link in my bio and sign up and just enroll, then you get to be a part of these hot seat coaching sessions and you get to ask your questions. So, what I am going to do right now is get off of the Energetic CEO hot coaching session because we're completely done for today. I might even decide to post this on YouTube because I feel like it was definitely very, very juicy. And a lot of people need to hear the insights that came from today. So I'm so happy, Courtney, that you decided to pioneer this hot seat coaching session for today. Forever proud of you and celebrating you for everything that you've been able to do for yourself and for your business. And I want to be able to share that with the world as well because you deserve it. And I think that we are creating such a massive wave of abundance and fulfillment within this movement. And I just want the world to see it. So I'm very happy for that. So, Courtney, I'm going to let you go. This was supposed to be 30 minutes and winded up being an hour, but I think that we needed it. And I hope that you watch that replay whenever it does pop up into the Energetic CEO community so that you can watch that first half of it and get the flowers that you deserve. I will talk to you again very soon, Courtney. Bye.